Yeah, very big welcome to you, my dear Aquarius. So now the Earth has continued its path, and we see behind the Sun the constellation Sagittarius, here Temperance in the Medicine Woman Tarot, blending the dualities so that we can become big, ruled by Jupiter. And of course, Jupiter is the expansion, is that I find the guardian angel deep within me when I bring the upper and the lower body together in Paschimottanasana. And then inside, deep inside of me, I see the guardian angel as that evolving energy, as that grandeur, right, that Jupiter brings to us through Sagittarius. Then here, of course, we have the ninth house of learning and philosophy. So there will be very interesting conversations happening in this month. The moon has turned as well and is now in your sign, or we see behind the moon the constellation Aquarius, and that's the star, that's the hope, that's the Taj Mahal, that's that wand with the star in it, and you are the star, right? And so we're going to the left. Left is going to the new moon, which you have in the second next reading. And so here you are called to have a look at how she is blending, but you are the next step, right? You're not just blending anymore, you are actually giving back to the world, to the water, to the earth, that which you have found yourself being the hope of humanity. Now you are ruled by Uranus. Uranus is that I can really be this revolution, but also Uranus is a new beginning, is the change that is constantly influencing us. You are the 11th house of friendships, so here can be a very beautiful energy with these two, right, when they come together. The yoga position then for you is side plank with one leg and arm up, and so you become the star yourself here on the earth, and that's what actually Sagittarius is bringing to you as well, right? Become big, right? Don't be afraid to really show yourself. In the deck of Mystical Moments Tarot, you have two kings, a feminine and a masculine king, so you can pick the one that fits you. Is your birthday between January 9th and February 7th, then this is your card. If not, look in the description below. I listed all of them. If your birthday is before or after, right? I also listed all the cards that I'm using on their positions, and so you can see how I'm working here. Back to the last reading where you had Scorpio Sun giving Aquarius Moon the light. Meditate on why climbing up is so important to you. You see how he's standing here on the horns, right? And that's of course a Taurus. Here we got again the hollow bone and the Four of Swords, which is meditating on what is really important in your life, right? And so apparently the climbing up is important for you, and so I hope you found in that reading your message. Now this month we're going to look into the Wheel of Fortune, because the Wheel of Fortune is also connected to Jupiter. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, the planet of grandeur, and of course connected as well to Sagittarius, which is then here bringing the blending, right? And you can see in this deck she is this woman that functions, right, with many wheels, with many ways. And so the Wheel of Fortune is very clearly now bringing us the untamed energy of Jupiter, right? Because in Sagittarius, it's very Sagittarius oriented. It's the blending, it's the number 14, it's the temperance. But here in the Wheel of Fortune, it is just Jupiter. It's just that kind of energy that you are looking for. And so we are gonna look at the Mystical Moment Tarot, because here in this deck she drew some of the people extraordinarily huge, and that's exactly what we want, right? We want in the Wheel of Fortune, or connected to Jupiter, how big can you dream yourself into being? So we're gonna have a look what the Mystical Moment Tarot is wanting to tell you. And you are big. Look at you. The number 2, the Liberty. And now if I place the Wheel of Fortune above where the position came in, or if I even place them next to each other, right, then you can see that they look at each other. And there is a conversation happening, right? And you see now that she's feeding the 5th star to the dove, and you are the star, right? The interesting thing is that here in this deck you have a 10, a 5, and a 2. So what's interesting, you have here 5 stars, and that's the 5 senses. You also have the 2 in here, you have the 2, the Liberty here, and you have now the 10 here. So in a way, these 2 cards embed the 3 numbers that you have here, right? The 10, the 5, and the 2, which is very interesting with the Roman numbers. Otherwise, it would be a 10 and a 7. And so here you get a 10, a 5, and a 2. So the 5 senses here, the 5th sense, the space, right, is being fed to the dove, because the dove is the messenger of peace, and the liberty to do so, the liberty to be able to say, I am feeding this bird a star, the hope that never stops. And all that comes through the Wheel of Fortune, all that comes through Jupiter. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, the planet of being grand. And so she is very grand here, right? Comes then the 10 and the 2, a 12, the Hanged Man. Something is letting you know that maybe you gotta really look deeper into what's happening around you, and you gotta make yourself really big. And her hair has become the night sky, right, where the stars are. And so you are seeing then through the 12, you get a 3. The 3 is the Empress. And so I think you are called to really be big. And you are stepping up to that challenge. So we're going to read to the left, right, because we're going to your new moon. And so on the position of the Fool, which is connected also to Uranus, right, your planet, we get the 7 of Wands. Now the 7 of Wands is connected with the constellation Mars in Leo. And Leo is your opposite sign, right? Leo is the one that is challenging you. The Leo sun will give the light to your full moon, right? And so you recognize that Mars, the action that you're taking, is almost here defending yourself, defending the path down the rabbit hole, defending the path back to you, almost, right? Because you're going now to the new moon, and it's the path to the left. And so here you are defending something deep within you. You are bringing up the courage to stand up, right? You have 6 wands crossing and 1 wand, which is the most important one. That one action, that one energy that you're putting out is the most important. And so you have a 7 and a 0, the 70. Then on the position of the Magician, we see here the Holy Mountain, which is the number 25. And so we have this calculated together as 7 portal, plus the 1. Then calculated together, we get, of course, here the 8. And the 8 is you, right? When we calculate the 17 together, we get the 8. And so here you recognize the 7-7 portal plus the 1 magician, the one and only, that one wand. You getting here then a 7-8, right? You are getting successfully further and deeper into who you want to become in your meditation up here on the mountain. Now I wanted to see what is it up in the mountain that you are seeking or that you are looking for. And the 3 of Pentacles came up. Now the magician is connected with Mercury, the information, and the information that you're getting here in this meditation position is that you want to work with others. Mars in Capricorn. Now you had Mars in Leo, now you have Mars in Capricorn. And Mars in Capricorn is building something bigger than you can imagine. And it's almost like, yes, you are defending that, but you know what you're doing. You're defending that again and again from others that maybe don't see the information that you are seeing, don't see that grandeur that you are seeing. And so here you are working with others, right? And that's why you are here in this position. Now the 7 and the 3 creates a 10, and the 10 plus the 1 is then the 11. So we have an 11 portal, and the 11 portal is bringing you 2 times the 1, and 2 times is being creative in the way you working, in the way you are walking up, right, the ladder. It's that social status, it's that Capricorn energy, right? We climb, we want to be the boss, and we are the boss sometimes, right? But not all the time. Then on the position of the High Priestess comes here the 3 of Swords. Now the 3 of Swords is connected with Saturn in Libra, and so we have the 2 and the 3 calculated together, we get a 5. And of course, Temperance, when we calculate it together, we get a 5 as well. And the 5 is, again, the 5 senses, is this 5th star that she's feeding to the dove, is making yourself as big as possible so that you can bring peace to the people, even with Saturn in Libra. Saturn is the father, is that stern energy that brings to us sometimes the difficulties, and here it's a mental difficulty, it's a story of, often it's called then the 3 people, 2 women and 1 man, or the reverse, right? But for me it's more, you are being called to be between these 2 swords in that 1 sword, right? The same way you have here that 1 wand that is pointing up. Focus on that 1 thought that is pointing up. And so you getting a 3-3 portal here, 3 of Swords and the 3 of Pentacles. And in the 2 times 3 we understand the creativity on being powerful. How powerful do you want to be? How powerful do you think you can make yourself to overcome this kind of difficulty? Then on the position of the Empress comes here the Pope, right? Le Pope, le Pape, and of course with the 5 and the 3 we get an 8, and the 8 is again the number that you are when we calculate the 17 together. The Pope brings you information always through the 3 stages. The 3 stages are always the new generation that is being born here, and that new generation is because there are 2 that come together, we get the 3rd, we get the center. And so the 5th sense, right, that 5th star that you are feeding here to the dove, right, is the peace that you want to see in the world, is the middle sword, is also here the middle stage, right? And that's why he holds his hand in a mudra, we have the two fingers up and the two fingers pointing down, and he's in the center. He is always in between. He is the middleman. He is the receiver of the information, because he's connected with Venus. So is the Empress, right? And Venus is beauty and is the love that we bring by learning through the triangle that everything has a duality, and then out of the duality I can pick the center of it. So here comes either a Taurus as well that is helping you to stay centered and connect deeply to the message, right? To stay in your center no matter what. Then on the position of Temperance, right? Which is in the Sun. So the Sun is through Temperance, through Sagittarius, bringing you the example of bowls, and that's a Scorpio. Here we see the King of Cups, and the King of Cups is the 8th Zodiac sign, is the 8th house of reincarnation, and we have, of course, the 5, and the 8 is creating a 13, and the 13 is the death that is imminent when we let go of something that maybe is really important to us. And so here speaks Scorpio again from the last reading. Meditate on why climbing up is so important to you, right? And so Scorpio is coming and letting you know, well, let go, right? Because that's what the 13 is. 13 is death. And then out of death comes the 4. And the 4 is Aries, is the new year, is the new beginning, right? And so here speaks a 4 to you, and bringing to you, of course, the depth of Scorpio. Now I wanted you to see in this deck Temperance, right? In the other one it's the blending. But here we see how one dove is landing and the other one is flying off. Now I'm just gonna put the Pope aside for a moment, because I want to bring this card here. Now it's almost like here is a dove as well, right? The 3rd one. So there's 3 doves, and it's again the number 3 that is speaking to you here. And you see how you are giving this dove the power to liberate itself. It's almost like now it's ready to take off, to fly away, right? I can also put it here, and so you can see how this one has landed, and you feed it the stars so that then it can take off again, right? And so you see very clearly that you are, as a star, the hope, and you making yourself big is important, right? Here we can see the landing and the flying off, and the letting go in the relationship that we take on, right, in our lives. And so recognize that, recognize this moment is important. Then on the position of the King of Swords, right, and remember you have 2 kings. Now you can pick whichever one of those 2 suits you. And we have, of course, the samurai, and we have the princess that is putting the stars onto Uranus, right? It looks like that's the planet the skirt is made of. So here comes the 9 of Cups. And the 9 of Cups is that moment where you connect with Jupiter in Pisces. Jupiter, again, the wheel of fortune, right? Jupiter that again brought you the liberty, brought you that grandeur, and now you are this lady, you are connected, and you can be, right, in a level of I am happy. I am happy with who I am happy where I have grown into, and I am just simply happy. You are the 11th house of technology and community, right? And so the 11 and the 9 in a way would create then the 20, which is then going back to Scorpio Sun, which is ruled by Pluto, and that was the message back then. Pluto that is then, of course, the transformation and the mystic in it is actually bringing you here now the understanding that Pluto will be for 20 years in your sign at the end of next year, right? And so see that you are now have arrived in a very deep happiness because you have understood something here in the month of Scorpio. You have understood that you support yourself, that you are ready. And even though here is a couple, right, because he loves to be in a relationship, right? It's very important for a Scorpio to be in a relationship, but here she is alone, right? She is single and she is the foundation and she is content. Sometimes they even call this, right, the luck card. Here you can wish something. So you are seeing clearly that you have brought yourself into your own happiness, right? Because that's really important. Now, on the position of the star comes the Fool, right? So the Fool is coming here, and we have the number 17 plus the 1 is the 18, and that's the subconscious, that's the moon. The moon that is in your sign right now is bringing you deep down. The rabbit hole is bringing you deep down, and you are recognizing that even a star has to come down. And so even on the tail here with the yellow flower, you recognize that you're learning something profound, right? That yes, high up in the sky there is the moon, there is the star, and there is everything that we can wish for, right? The moon and the clouds and the star. But now you have to go deep down. It's almost like the moon is pushing you to look deep down what's lingering there. And you do see the 9 here, you do see the happiness here, you do see that you also got the 20, which is of course the calling, right? And the calling here is bringing you then Pluto, right? Because Pluto is in the 20, in the calling. And so recognize that, see that, but you have to go as well deep down in that rabbit hole and begin your journey new, a complete new journey. It's almost like saying, well, now the moon is in your sign, go deeper, right? Go deeper, have a look. What else do you find deep down here? On the position of the moon, then comes here the dream oracle, the whale, the number 61, the resonating of the whale song. And so when you go deep down, you find yourself now here. And it's really beautiful because the whale is facing the Fool, and the 18, which is the 9, then calculated together, and here the 61 becomes the 7, right? The 9 and the 7 is the 16, is the tower, is the deep, deep letting go, seeing for what the moon sometimes can bring you in its depths, right? There is still lurking some monsters, some difficulties, but nevertheless you are seeing there are also huge giants that are helping you to be who you can become to be emotionally, right? Because this is water. Now here we have, of course, also from the Mother Peace Tarot, the 8 of Cups as a clarification. What is lurking here deep down in the whale song, in the resonating? And you see here this octopus with his 8 cups. It's that emotional leaving. It's like looking deep down and then being strong enough, huge enough to emotionally go, right? Because we calculate together the 16 becomes the 7 and the 8 creates a 15, and the 15 is the devil, is the attachment. So sometimes have a deeper look into your emotions. Are you holding on to, are you attaching yourself to someone that maybe isn't good for you, that you should leave, right? Because you had the 9 of Cups, so 9 cups and 8 is 17. Here comes you. When you find yourself, then you can truly leave, right? Then you can truly let go. And so here you are called to find your hugeness, right? To find who you can become. Then on the position of the sun, which is of course in Sagittarius, right? The bigness. Now here comes the equator, the making equal. Now the dark is pointing here at the whale, and you see that she's holding here this small version of this huge bubble, right? And it's almost like saying, yes, you are going deeper down into the new moon. And even Jupiter is letting you know you are huge. Remember, you can be big. See that, because the bird is covering her left eye, the inner eye, the intuitive eye. And in the darkness, we become intuitive. In the darkness, we know who we truly are, right? And so here you see these two reflecting each other. It's just a smaller version, and here you are. You've seen this in your dreams, and now you're getting from the sun the clarity that this is the path going deep into the subconscious, going deep down and seeing who you are. Now I wanted to see what comes here to make equal, and you came up reversed, right? You are here sitting in this spring. You have the 7-star sisters Sirius above you. You have the bird, you in the water. You are clearly now in the water, but this whole card is coming reversed to you because you are going down into the dark, right? You're going down into the learning again to see what's deep in our subconscious, right? What are the messages in our subconscious? And so the reverse of the star is fearing vulnerability and may have a hard time opening herself to love and healing. Perhaps she is sick and feels negative or defeated. She needs to be aware of the healing and regeneration that is possible and find ways of reconnecting herself with what renews her energy. And here came the sign. Go deep into the water. In the water you're finding always your healing, and you can reconnect to your own inner equilibrium, right? The dark and the light is always deep within you, and then you can turn this card around, right? And so you're learning through the sun that here is a very strong and deep message, because this is the number 5, right? We have the 19, which is a 10. The 10 and the 5 is again 15. Is fearing attachment to the social status or to another person, right? Clinging to another person. And so the 15 plus then, of course, the 8 of the 17 is the 23. The 23, then the 5 is left. So the 5 is left, that learning, that understanding, that you going deeper, deeper down to learn and to grow. Because then on the position of the world comes again the 9 of Cups. And you had the 9 of Cups, right? So you have twice the 9 of Cups. Here she is this proud woman holding the cups, and here she is the woman that immersed herself in the water, and in that water she meditates. She goes deep down into her subconscious, into her emotions, into her biggest fear, because the 9-9 is the 18, and so 18 is the moon, and Aquarius is in the moon, and on that position came the Fool. So you're beginning something new. You're beginning to dive deep. You're beginning to recognize that there you find your true strength in meditating, in submerging yourself deeper into the emotions that you are fearing, because it's those emotions that we fear the most are the ones that we need to look at. And so the 21 of the world plus the 9 is a 30, and the 3 is left, and we had the 3 at the beginning here telling you to build something even though it's painful, right? The 3 of Swords. And closing the reading though with the Seven of Wands, right? The 3 that is left here, and the 7 creates a 10. And the 10 is the Wheel of Fortune, and the Wheel of Fortune brought you her, the Liberty. And now she's standing here and she's watching you, how you have gone deep down and how you have allowed yourself to open up and be vulnerable, because if you don't do it, your partner will not do it either. You're finding your equilibrium. You have the whale here, right at the tip of that deep dark inside of you. You have the understanding that this whale song is always with you, the 7, right? And the 7 came also through the holy mountain, right? So up, either up in the sky in the holy mountain, or deep down in the water, we find always our true strength. And so here you are called to arrive. Here you are called to be this liberty that feeds the star to the dove, right? The 5 stars that are here, and the 5 that came up here with the sun, right? The 15, and then of course the 8, the 23. We had a 5 here, right? And so the 5 that is here on this card is bringing you to understand that the 5th star, right? The 5th sense, the speaking, the communication, which is you, the swords, right? Is needed. We need to communicate. Even though we've been hurt, we need to communicate lovingly and caringly. And so, of course, here the 3 and the 7 creates the 10. And so here she is looking at you and being with you and helping you to understand the depth that she is diving herself into, to heal and to become this self-sufficient, happy person. So I hope I see you in the next one, because that's when the sun is in Capricorn. We had the 15, right? And the 15 is, of course, the attachment. So we're going to look at the attachments that can come up here again through the devil, through Capricorn. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.